curious. I was curious going into yesterday's game, knowing, could win, could lose. Let's see what happens if they get swept, how people react. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what happens. I mean, I'm curious where you're at 215-592-9494. Because I'll tell you right out of the gate, there's not going to be a flip out from me. There's not.
No.
There's still.
Nor should there be.
No, there shouldn't be. They're still within a game and a half of the best record in baseball.
Yes.
And they're still one game out of a division lead with a team that's really good also.
Our best player got pegged by a baseball the first at-bat of the first game of the last series against the Braves.
Right.
And our team fought. They won that series
and
against the Braves.
And they're feeling the effect without him.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I say it.
So our best bat goes down. Is it any wonder that the bats get cold? No. Yeah. I mean, this is not time to panic. It's not time to worry. The team's not in the dumps, and we can use some help here and there, but we are okay. We're still in good shape. And the areas that we need the most help in, I feel like they're addressable. Yes, it's annoying that our shortstop sucks at shortstop, but he can also be an incredible weapon offensively a lot of the time. And sometimes it's hard to overlook the incredible suckage at shortstop, though.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it there, John. So, again, I really want to see, and line up, guys, 215-592-9494. Get in here and tell us your big picture reaction. Is there a freak out zone for you or not? I'm telling you, for me, there is not. Obviously, you can hear from John, there is not. With that said, there were two things in particular that I thought were really bad this weekend and merit real dives into what the hell was that. The first, obviously, and I'm going sequential, was the Saturday Lazardo thing where he's kept out there to the point where his Cy Young candidacy just gets freaking just rocked.
Torched. Set on fire.
Set on fire. I mean, set on fire. So I felt so bad for him.
And a guy who's up for a contract after there's so many implications to it.
Now, you're right. He could be ticked at death. Now, the Machiavellian in me
76 pitches. Yeah, it was 3 1/3.
I know, but here
how early should you pull a guy?
7 runs earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
7.
Well, look, they weren't bad pitches. It felt like a lot of the times they were hard and they were, like upper corner quadrant, and they were reaching that thing.
You got to protect the guy.
Why is it that they all seem to be the four-seamer? Why?
I don't know
what the
that.
heck is going on with that?
I don't know that. Here's what I know. Not Rob Thompson's fault. Bench guy's fault. Topper gets thrown out. Topper got thrown out when Lazardo had given up 5 runs. Then there's a guy, I never heard of him. Normally, these Phillies bench guys, the third base, first base, the bullpen, the pitching coach. This Mike Calitri guy, he takes over. Whoever the hell that guy is.
The bench coach.
Yeah, I know. The hell was that? 7 more runs? 7? Mike Calitri, dude, maybe you're a super nice guy. Maybe you listen to our show. I hope you do. I don't know what that was. I know this. If I'm Lazardo, I'm in a freaking bad mood about it. Now, I will say this, because this used to be a bigger part of baseball when you go back decades before, when you had less starting pitchers out there. Excuse me, less relievers out there. You used to see a starter have to kind of wear it. I remember Schilling in St. Louis in '93. He was getting rocked, and he was in a bad mood, but Fregosi kept him out there. Dutch was yelling at him. It was a hot, sunny day in July. And sometimes, you used to only have 5 relievers in the bullpen. Now you have 7 or 8 or 9, depending on circumstances sometimes, postseason and all that. So it is there may be something to, Lazardo had to kind of wear it and gets a badge of honor. I mean this. I actually mean this. From the guys for dealing with it, maybe not complain. I don't know. I don't know what he said privately after the game. John, I know this. If I was Lazardo, I'd be really upset. I had front-runner Cy Young capabilities, the resume, let's call it, and capabilities, and now my ERA is 3.5.
I don't know. If I'm a Lazardo, I'm probably looking at it what the heck just happened? It was such a short period of time. It was 3 1/3 innings. It really was fast and furious, and it was... He's going 4-seam,
but it was 12. But it was
12
runs.
12. I get it, but it was 3 1/3, and it was 76 pitches. And there's something to man, this guy has been so fabulous to this point.
Right.
It's obscene, the number of runs that we're talking about here.
I know.
And it is such a shame that it does seem to, poke a massive hole in the side of the whatever boat he was sailing in on the way to a Cy Young. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe that's not what's important. What's important is I do worry that there's something going on with our pitchers. Remember, Romano had something going on where there was tippage with his fastball, or maybe it was just of all his pitches. Why is it? It seemed like, once again, they were so on his fastball yesterday, so much so that it was brought up, on the broadcast.
I don't know the answer to that. Here's what I do know the answer to, though. So, look, you can weigh in on the Lazardo thing. What did you make of it? All right, especially if you were there. If you sat through that nonsense at the stadium.
Bless you.
Seriously, right? Like 215-592-9494. Talk to us. I'm really curious your perspective. We don't know what Lazardo was told before the game. I mean, sometimes the pitchers. Listen, maybe Rob Thompson didn't prepare him because you don't expect him to implode. Entirely possible. Maybe they talked to him at some point earlier in the. Because remember, he gave up 4 in the first. I think it was 4 in the first. But it was one of maybe they grabbed him.
It was 4 in the first.
Yeah, maybe they grabbed him entering the 4th inning. It was like, hey, we're leaning on you, man. Because look, the bullpen has been used a lot, and you didn't have Longman Taiwan at that point because he started on Friday night. All right, so where do you stand on that? But here to me is the bigger thing from the weekend, because it's Lazardo isn't going to impede them from winning the World Series. What happened? Trey Turner's defense could. That to me yesterday. Matter of fact, let's listen to the moment. Tight game. Phil's up 1, 7th inning. I think everyone knows Phil's didn't win the game. I think everyone knows the biggest reason was this moment. Let's listen.
And the pitch. Swinging a ground ball to short. And Turner booted it. And the game's tied. Right at Trea Turner. And he commits his 5th error of the year. And this game starts over 2-2 here in the 7th.
Part of what makes it problematic, it was so simple.
It was so simple, and it's a double play that ends the inning. And then that inning, of course, that goes on to yield a run, and then 2 more runs that make it
exactly.
A major
John,
loss.
This one strikes me as the biggest thing from the weekend as it relates to long-term viability this year, to win it all or not, to get close to winning it all or not. And I'm struck by, and I've said this a few times, but I was struck when that moment happened by this fact. The 2 times the Phillies have won the World Series, 1980 and 2008, they had what certainly considered by many the 2 best defensive shortstops they've ever had. Now, look, guys, I can't tell you the 1932 shortstop how good he was or even who he was. But I know this. Larry Bowa, totally legit defensively. Jimmy Rollins, totally legit defensively. There is no debate about that. There is no debate. And so, yes, maybe you can say, well, it's a lot easier when you got Schmidt and Ryan Howard, you got Carlton and Cole Hamels, you got Luzinski and Rose, and you got Utley and Victorino, and that's all true. That is all true. There was a lot of talent on both teams. But, I mean, fundamentally, it is a fact to state when they had Bowa or Rollins, not only did they win the World Series, with each of them, but I mean, sustained success making the playoffs year after year. Now, look, this team has made the playoffs a lot. But I mean, let's be real. When you evaluate the hitting, the fielding, the running, the pitching of the main guys, because you're going to have guys in and out. You're always going to have your Kepler, he's here, he's out. Austin Hayes, he's here, he's out. You're always going to have some change there. But when you talk about the main 4 or 5 hitters that are going to be here for a long time, the main couple pitchers are going to be here for a long time, the reality is Trea Turner's defense is the weakest, the worst of all those main guys. And I'm talking about the Phillies, John, they made a decision to stick by him this year as the shortstop. And I believe that decision was rooted in fear of a conversation with him. I believe they stuck with Trea Turner because of fear of a tough conversation. And the Phillies, sink or swim, are going to have to live with the consequences of that. That, to me, is what stood out to me the most this weekend, because that's the thing for October, John. It's like, man, they're on a very shaky ground there. Your thoughts?
I don't know anything about whether they wanted a conversation, whether they feared a conversation, whether if that's the impetus for why he hasn't made this move.
Why isn't he the center fielder?
I think it's absurd that he's not in the outfield.
Yeah. Or even John, or even second base.
Sure.
Right?
Just swap the two. Swap Bryson and swap Trea. I don't know why. It feels like, and I hate to say this, it feels like this is like promises were made that are being upheld. And that's the worst. 100%. It shouldn't take place in sports, right? It should be a meritocracy, not a promisocracy or whatever that would be.
Look at Sirianni. Didn't play Bryce off.
Right.
Didn't play him.
That's so respected,
right?
And that's Vic Fangio saying, "I don't care who brought this guy in. He's not my kind of player, and we need to trade him." And so they're trading him. Good. This was this was different.
Yeah.
I'm not
James,
there.
which one bothered you more, or category 3? I can't imagine there's a third. I mean, bullpen is a concern. But what bothered you the most this weekend?
Well, the trade defense, the play, and to your point, just what bothers me now. They're a good baseball team. I'm not going to freak out over a bad series. I do think it's a fair question to bring up the competition thing. I think that's something to talk about and all that. Yep. But I think they're a good team. But to your point, everything I watch, the concerns I have are all through the prism of what could come back and end this team's season.
Yep.
And the defense and the bullpen are the two things that stand out to me right now as the most likely things to end their season.
Yeah, well, no, I think that is true.
But the bullpen is more addressable because and I don't know if it's because of the conversation, Joe, or the need for one or fear of one.
Yep.
But don't you think it's still aren't we holding out some hope that this could still happen, or is it just way too far past?
Thing?
The idea of moving Trey.
Not in season.
Not in season.
Really?
No, they've made their
It's
bed.
just impossible
They're sleeping
to consider that?
Yeah, they're sleeping in this bed for this year. So,
look, that is a shame.
We'll take your reaction. I mean, I think the Lazardo thing was the biggest fiasco from the weekend, clearly. But I do think the Trea thing is the thing that will linger the most as it relates to October. Where do you stand? 215.
It's a sick pit in my stomach thinking about October still with Trea Turner at shortstop, and if that's the deal that the devil made,
what it is, man.
Oh, it really does sicken me.
It's just what it is. And look, guys, we saw them get to the Game 6 of the World Series with stop playing shortstop. I mean, you can't act like they couldn't flip them. They could, but they haven't, and they won't. At least not this year. 215-592.